In this video, I'm going to talk about three different libraries in Python that are very useful when it comes to the data handling or data visualization. These three libraries are Pandas, Matplotlib, and Seaborn. Pandas is one of the best tools when it comes to the data frame handling. You could get a lot of useful information out of your data frame using the Pandas library. You could also do the column cleanup, or you can do updates on your columns and their values using this library. Also, if you want to look for the duplicates, are there several columns repeated? If so, you can only choose one of them, or there are missing values and you want to, for example, remove all the entries in your data frame with some missing values in them, then Pandas is very user-friendly, very easy to use. Or imputation, for example, if you want to use only a subset of your data, when doing analysis, this is something important that we need to actually figure out what is it that we want out of this data. Is everything and anything useful and meaningful, or we are going only for a certain subset that we believe is going to give us the best possible outcome? So imputation is something that's going to be useful. Also, correlation could be done with pandas. I already said in the first video of this week when we were discussing the exploratory data analysis that the correlation between values could be very important when you're doing data analysis, because at the end we don't want to have multiple values very much correlated to each other when we can only pick one representative for all of them. So correlation could be identified and studied using the Pandas library. Pandas also have some basic plottings, but this is very limited. Like, a scatter plot, histogram, box plot, these could be done with Pandas. But this is not necessarily the first choice when somebody goes for data visualization. You don't normally say that, okay, I have this visualization project, I want to have something fabulous, let's use Pandas. No, this is not necessarily the tool. But for simple things, it definitely will work. But generally, data visualization tools are quite of importance in the analytics industry because, as I said before, they give a clear idea of the complex data that you are working with. And two of the Python's greatest visualization tools are Matplotlib and Seaborn. And you need to know that as well. Seaborn library is actually based on Matplotlib. So in what follows, I'm going to give you a brief comparison between these two libraries. Then basically it's up to you. By looking at your needs, decide which one is the one that you want to go for. Okay, the first thing that I'm going to compare is the functionalities of Matplotlib and Seaborn. Matplotlib is basically deployed for basic plotting. The visualization in Matplotlib generally consists of bars, pies, lines, scatter plots, and so on. Seaborn, on the other hand, provides a variety of visualization patterns. It also uses fewer syntax as has easily interesting default themes. It specializes in statistical visualization, and it is used if one has to summarize data in visualization or social distribution of the data. So functionalities, both of them are actually good, but if you want to go for something a bit more visually appealing or a bit more complex in the sense of the thing that you're producing, then you're going with Seaborn. Of course, as I said, it has fewer syntax, so it's probably a bit easier in that sense as well. How about handling multiple figures? Matplotlib has multiple figures that could be opened, but you should remember that they need to be closed explicitly. Basically, you should have PLT close parentheses. All, because if you only have PLT closed, then it's only close the current figure, not everything. On the other hand, Seaborn automates creation of multiple figures, but of course, sometimes it leads to out-of-memory issues. So these are things that you need to weigh. Which one is the one that is more important for you? And the visualization. The Matplotlib is a graphic package for data visualization in Python, and it is well integrated with NumPy and Pandas. And the PyPlot module mirrors the MATLAB plotting commands very closely. That is why MATLAB users, if you are one of them, could easily transit to plotting with Python. On the other hand, Seaborn is more integrated for working with Pandas data frames. It extends the Matplotlib library, so it has whatever that has, but a bit more, and basically it is good for creating beautiful graphics with Python using a more straightforward set of methods. How about when it comes to the data frames and arrays? Matplotlib works with data frames and arrays. It has different stateful APIs for plotting. The figures and aces are represented by the object, and therefore the plot calls without any parameter suffixes, without having without necessarily needing to manage the parameters. Seaborn also works with the dataset as a whole and is much more intuitive than Matplotlib. And the replot, the function replot, is the entry API with kind parameter to specify the type of the flat, which could be line, bar, or many other types. So what about flexibility? Well, I mean, to be honest, I think both of them are quite flexible. Matplotlib is highly customizable and powerful, and Seaborn is also quite flexible, and it provides a lot of default themes that are commonly used. So personally, I don't see much of a difference when we talk about flexibility. And how about use cases? Okay, Pandas use Matplotlib. I already mentioned it a couple of times. So it's a wrapper around Matplotlib. And Seaborn is for more specific use cases. Also, remember that Seaborn is Matplotlib under the hood. So in that sense, they're quite similar. But when we're thinking about the statistical plotting, probably Seaborn is the better way to go with. So which one should you choose? Well, as you saw, both of them have their strengths, and both of them could be in different scenarios. If you're doing a statistics, probably Seaborn is a good choice. But both of them are quite useful, especially in the stage that we are in this course for doing the data visualization. So by now you have seen a couple of libraries that does the visualization. In the previous video you also saw different plots. So already you have quite a bit of tools to do what you want to do. In the next slide I'm going to give you another tool, which is a chart suggestions tool. So we enumerated a few possible charts already, but of course we can't browse them all. So if you have a project in hand and you know the nature of your project, probably this is, as it is called, a thought starter. You could go to this picture. I'm going to put a link to this PDF in the description box, so if it's not clear here, you could also open the PDF and go through that. And what it does is basically guide you to the potential type of chart that is useful for your specific project, so you have a better understanding where to start from. For example, if you are looking at a comparison project and you want to compare something over time, and you have few periods but many categories, then you can go for line charts. If you have a distribution problem in hand and you're looking at, let's say, two variables, then a scatter chart probably is the best choice that you have. If you're looking at the composition and it is not changing over time, it's static, then If the simple share of total is enough for you, you could go for a pie chart, or if you want something more complicated, you can have waterfall chart, for example. The same with relationship, it have 2 variables, a scatter chart, 3 variables, bubble chart. You see, this is a kind of guide for you, but as I already said in the previous video, the most important thing for you is that to take all these base knowledge and be creative and come up with your own solution, which you hopefully will do in the upcoming mini project. See you in next video, and bye for now.